The doors to the Galactic Council chamber burst open. All heads turned as Representative Zix Farrell stumbled in, his forearms trembling as he clutched a datapad. The normal chatter of 300 species fell silent. "Emergency," Zix Farrell gasped, his translator struggling with his rapid speech. The humans are heading to war." The chamber erupted in confused voices. Some representatives stood up from their gravity-adjusted seats. Others began rapid discussions with their aides. In the middle of this chaos, one figure remained perfectly still. Lisa Murphy, the human ambassador to the Galactic Council, simply sipped her coffee. Her calm blue eyes watched the panic spread through the chamber with what almost looked like amusement. High Chancellor Vroon banged his ceremonial staff against the floor. The sound echoed through the vast space, bringing silence once again. "Representative Zixtharl, explain yourself," Vroon demanded. "These are serious claims about our newest member species." Zixtharl connected his datapad to the main display system. Images filled the giant screens around the chamber. They showed human ships gathering in space, soldiers loading equipment, factories working at full speed making weapons and armor. "Our intelligence networks detected this activity across all human territories," Zixtharl explained. "Their diplomatic channels have gone quiet. Military communications have increased by 400%. They are preparing for war." All eyes turned to Lisa Murphy. The human ambassador set down her coffee cup and stood up. At 5'8", she was shorter than most species in the chamber, but something in her posture made her seem taller. "Ambassador Murphy," Chancellor Vroon said, his voice strained but polite, "would you care to explain these activities?" Lisa smiled. It was a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Earth has its reasons," she said simply. The chamber exploded again with voices. The Delvian representative, a giant slug-like creature, oozed forward in anger. "This is unacceptable," it shouted. "Humans were admitted to this council only 50 Earth years ago. You are still considered a juvenile species. Any military action requires council approval." Lisa Murphy didn't flinch. "We are aware of the rules." Representative Krell of the Mantodian cluster raised all 4 of his eye stalks. "Is Earth planning to attack a council world? Are you declaring war on the council itself?" For the first time, Lisa showed a reaction. She laughed. The sound echoed strangely in the tense chamber. "You misunderstand human nature," she said. "As always." Chancellor Vroon moved closer to the human ambassador. Though his species was known for calm diplomacy, even he showed signs of stress, his skin shifting to a darker blue. "Ambassador Murphy, we need a clear answer. Why is Earth mobilizing its military forces?" Lisa looked around the chamber slowly, making eye contact with several representatives before speaking. "You should have paid more attention to our history books," she said. "They were in the cultural package we shared when we joined." The Xindi representative hissed. "Is that a threat?" "It's an observation," Lisa replied. The council erupted into arguments. Some called for immediate sanctions against Earth. Others suggested a containment fleet to surround human territory. A few counseled patience and further investigation. Through it all, Lisa Murphy stood quietly, that small smile still on her face. Finally, Chancellor Vroon called for order. "We will vote on our response," he announced. "The options are immediate military containment of human territories, economic sanctions, or sending a high-level delegation to Earth to determine their intentions." The vote was conducted rapidly. The result appeared on the main screen. The Council would send a delegation to Earth. Chancellor Vroon turned to Lisa. "We expect full cooperation, Ambassador." Lisa nodded. "The delegation will be welcomed on Earth. I'll make the arrangements immediately." As the emergency session ended, representatives hurried out, whispering among themselves. Lisa Murphy gathered her things unhurriedly. A young aide approached her. "Did it go as expected?" he asked quietly. Lisa's smile finally reached her eyes. "Exactly as expected," she said. "They're scared, curious, and completely clueless. Perfect. 50 years earlier, Commander Jack Russell stood on the bridge of the U.S. Independence, staring at the alien ship that had just entered Earth's solar system. His face showed no fear, only focus. This was the moment humanity had prepared for, though no one had expected it to happen during their lifetime. "Status report," Jack said calmly. "The object has slowed near Mars orbit." "Sir," replied Lieutenant Susan Boyd. "It's definitely not natural and not one of ours." Jack nodded. "All stations maintain alert level Alpha. Open all communication frequencies. Let's see if they want to talk." Decades of science fiction had prepared humanity for this moment better than anyone realized. There was no panic, no chaos. The world's governments had quickly activated long-established first contact protocols. Military forces were ready but not openly aggressive. Scientists worked around the clock to find ways to communicate. 3 days later, the aliens made their move. A small shuttle detached from the larger ship and approached Earth. It landed precisely in the middle of a prepared landing zone in neutral Switzerland. Jack was part of the reception committee, standing beside scientists and world leaders. When the shuttle door opened, revealing beings with 4 arms and large eyes, he kept his expression neutral even as his mind raced with tactical assessments. The aliens called themselves the Palaxians, representatives of the Galactic Council. They seemed surprised and pleased by humanity's calm response to their arrival. "Your species shows remarkable composure," said Vrilta, the lead alien diplomat, after translation devices were working. "Many new species react with fear or aggression to first contact." "We've been expecting visitors for a long time," replied Dr. Karen Martinez, Earth's chosen spokesperson. "We're pleased to meet you peacefully." What the aliens didn't understand, and what Jack observed silently, was that humanity's composure came from centuries of preparing for the worst. Behind the smiling diplomats were military forces on high alert. Beneath the scientific curiosity was careful analysis of alien technology for potential threats. Over the next few months, the Palaxians shared information about the wider galaxy. They explained how the Galactic Council governed relations between nearly 300 intelligent species. They seemed impressed by human technology, though they considered it primitive. "Your species developed differently than most," Vrilta told Jack during a tour of the Independence. "Most Council species evolved toward cooperation and away from conflict. You have a surprising focus on defense technologies." Jack shrugged. "Human history is complex. We've had our share of wars, but we've learned from them." What Jack didn't say was that he found the aliens naively trusting. They freely shared information about their ship's capabilities, seemingly without concern that humans might use this knowledge against them. They misinterpreted military readiness as scientific curiosity. During a private meeting with Earth's Defense Council, Jack voiced his observations. "They have no concept of operational security," he explained. "They're showing us everything, assuming we're as peaceful as they are. We should use this opportunity." "For what purpose?" asked General Laura Francis. "Not for attack," Jack clarified. "But we should learn everything we can while maintaining our military readiness. The galaxy might not be as friendly as these Palaxians suggest." The Earth Council agreed. As negotiations for joining the Galactic Council progressed, humanity put on a peaceful face while maintaining their military infrastructure. They absorbed alien technologies rapidly, adapting them to human needs, including defense. When Earth was formally invited to join the Galactic Council 5 years later, Jack, now Admiral Russell, stood beside the Earth President as the agreement was signed. The aliens saw a united, peaceful humanity joining the galactic community. They didn't see the new fleet of ships being built in hidden facilities, incorporating alien technology. They didn't notice how carefully humans studied reports of every species and conflict in galactic history. They didn't realize that humanity was preparing, just in case. As the ceremony ended, Vrilta approached Jack. "Your species will make a fine addition to the Council," he said. "You are adaptable and peaceful, despite your unusual evolutionary path." Jack smiled, and shook the alien's hand with genuine warmth. "We're looking forward to a long and productive relationship." He meant it sincerely, but he also knew that humanity would never completely lower its guard. It wasn't in their nature. The council delegation arrived on Earth 3 days after the emergency meeting. Their ship landed at the New Washington spaceport, where a small but formal reception waited. No crowds, no big ceremony, just a line of officials in crisp uniforms. High Chancellor Vroon led the delegation down the ramp. He was joined by representatives from 5 major council species. They were met by United Earth Defense Secretary Samantha Allen, a tall woman with short gray hair and a face that rarely showed emotion. "Welcome to Earth," she said with a polite smile. "We hope your journey was comfortable." Vroom's skin rippled slightly, a sign of tension in his species. "Thank you for receiving us on such short notice, Secretary Allen. The Council has significant concerns we must address immediately." Samantha nodded. "Of course, we have prepared a meeting room at the Defense Department. But first, perhaps you would appreciate a chance to rest and refresh yourselves." The aliens exchanged glances. This calm reception was not what they had expected from a planet supposedly preparing for war. "We would prefer to begin discussions right away," said Grex, the Mantodian representative, his eye stalks twitching with impatience. "As you wish," Samantha replied. She gestured to a man standing nearby. "This is Captain Noah Martinez. He will be your military liaison during your stay." Captain Martinez stepped forward and bowed slightly. "Welcome to Earth. My team and I are at your disposal for any questions regarding our defense protocols." The delegation was escorted to ground cars that took them through Washington, D.C. As they traveled, the aliens couldn't help but notice certain things about the human city. There were monuments to past wars everywhere. Museums displayed the evolution of weapons through human history, and the citizens seemed oddly comfortable with the military presence on the streets. "Your people honor warriors greatly," observed Scary, the Delvian representative, pointing to a large statue of a human in military uniform. "We honor those who served their people," Noah corrected gently. Not all were warriors by choice. At the Defense Department, they were shown to a meeting room with a large oval table. Screens on the walls displayed maps of Earth and its colonies. Secretary Allen took her place at the head of the table. "Now, Chancellor Vroon, please share your concerns directly," she said. Vroon activated his data pad, showing the same images that had caused such alarm at the council meeting. "These military movements cannot be ignored. Is Earth preparing to attack someone? The council must know." Samantha studied the images carefully before responding. "Earth is not preparing to attack the council or any of its members, Chancellor. You have my word on that." "Then why the military buildup?" demanded Grex. "Why the sudden increase in ship production and troop movements?" "Earth has detected a threat that the council has either missed or ignored," Samantha said simply. "We are taking appropriate precautions." This answer clearly frustrated the aliens. "What threat?" asked Vroon. "The council maintains peace throughout known space. There are no active conflicts that would warrant this level of mobilization." Samantha's expression remained neutral. "We will share our intelligence when the time is right. For now, I can assure you that our actions are defensive in nature." The meeting continued for hours, with the delegation pressing for details and Secretary Allen providing reassurances without specific information. By evening, the aliens were visibly frustrated. "Perhaps a tour would help ease your concerns," Captain Martinez suggested. "Tomorrow I can show you one of our naval facilities. It might help you understand our standard procedures better." The delegation reluctantly agreed. As they were escorted to their quarters for the night, Scary pulled Vroon aside. "They're hiding something," the Delvian whispered. "But I don't sense aggression. It's more like fear." Vroon nodded slowly. "Humans are strange creatures. We know they have a violent history. Yet they joined the council peacefully. Perhaps there is more to their warrior nature than we understood." In her office, Secretary Allen made a secure call. "The delegation is settled. They're suspicious but not hostile. Tomorrow's tour is arranged, just enough to satisfy them without revealing anything important. On the other end, Lisa Murphy smiled. Perfect. Keep them busy for 3 more days. By then, it won't matter what they know. While the official delegation toured naval bases and attended meetings, Council Intelligence Officer Krex moved quietly through the shadows of Seattle. Unlike his colleagues, he wasn't satisfied with polite answers and guided tours. The slim, gray-skinned alien had over 30 years of experience gathering information. His species could change skin color slightly to blend with surroundings, which made him perfect for this work. Krex knew humans were hiding something. His job was to find out what. After 3 days of watching and listening, Krex made contact with a human he believed could help. Dr. Alan West was a xenobiologist who had published papers questioning the Council's classification systems. He worked at the Pacific Research Center, and based on his communications, he seemed unhappy with his government's secrecy. They met in a small coffee shop near the water. Krex wore human clothes and a hat that covered his alien features. From a distance, he could pass for human. "Dr. West," Krex said, sitting down across from the bearded man. "Thank you for meeting me." Alan looked nervous but determined. "You said you have information about the military buildup." "I'm trying to understand it," Krex corrected. "The Council is concerned about human intentions. We need to know if Earth is planning something aggressive." Alan sipped his coffee, then leaned forward. "You've got it all wrong. Humans aren't planning to attack the Council. We're preparing for something else entirely." "What?" "Have you heard of the Vorax?" Krex frowned. "An old legend. Stories to scare young ones." Alan shook his head. "Not a legend. They're real, and they're coming." For the next hour, Alan explained. 3 years after joining the Council, human scientists had started examining deep space data from Council archives. They found patterns in what the Council dismissed as background radiation. According to Alan, these patterns matched ancient descriptions of the Vorax, a predatory species that appeared every few thousand years to harvest developed worlds. "Wait," Krex interrupted. "You're saying humans are preparing to fight a mythical enemy that no living being has ever seen?" "We've seen enough," Alan insisted. He pulled out a small device and showed Krex images of deep space anomalies. "Our deep-range probes detected these 9 months ago. The Council ignored our reports, calling them inconclusive." Krex studied the images carefully. "These could be anything." "Maybe. But humans have learned not to wait for absolute proof when survival is at stake." Alan explained that Earth had been quietly testing Council species' reactions to potential threats for years. They found most Council members had evolved away from defensive thinking, becoming dangerously unprepared for serious dangers. "The Council has enjoyed peace for so long that it's forgotten how to recognize threats," Alan said. "It's not their fault. It's just how their societies evolved. But humans still remember what it means to fight for survival." Krex considered this information. It sounded incredible, yet it explained the strange human behaviors he had observed. Their military readiness while maintaining peaceful relations, their fascination with Council defense systems, their careful study of galactic history. "If what you're saying is true," Krex said slowly, "why keep it secret from the Council? Why not share this information?" Alan sighed. "We tried. 3 times. The Council's Science Directorate dismissed our findings as human paranoia. They said we were seeing threats where none existed because of our violent evolutionary path. So Earth decided to prepare alone. We had no choice. But we're not preparing just for ourselves." Alan looked Krex directly in the eyes. "If the Vorax are real, and we believe they are, they'll threaten all intelligent life. Humans are preparing to defend everyone, not just Earth." Before Krex could respond, his communication device buzzed urgently. A message from the delegation. "Return immediately. Emergency situation developing." Something had happened. Something big. "I need to go," Krex said, standing quickly. Aelin nodded grimly. It's starting, isn't it? They're coming. Krex didn't answer. He was already moving toward the door, wondering if the human's incredible story could possibly be true. Lieutenant Kelly Diaz stood on the bridge of the U.S. Explorer, a human scout vessel patrolling the edge of known space. At 32, she was young for a command, but her record was perfect. The Explorer was small but fast, designed to gather information rather than fight. For the past 3 months, Kelly and her crew had been tracking unusual energy signatures in a remote sector, a sector that most ships avoided. The readings matched what Earth scientists had identified as possible Vorax activity. Status report, Kelly said, brushing her short brown hair from her eyes. Still following the trail, ma'am, replied Ensign Paul Garcia from the sensor station. Energy signature is getting stronger. Whatever it is, we're getting closer. Kelly nodded. Maintain stealth protocols. Keep our emissions as low as possible. The Explorer was running dark, using minimal power to avoid detection. This mission was classified at the highest level. Only a handful of people outside this ship knew they were here. Lieutenant, called Communications Officer Ben Wright, we've detected a small Council research outpost ahead. It's in the path of whatever we're tracking. Kelly frowned. Do they know about the energy signature? I don't think so. Their communications are routine. Scientific data, personal messages, nothing urgent. Kelly faced a difficult choice. Warning the outpost might reveal their presence to whatever they were tracking. Not warning them might put lives at risk. Open a secure channel, she decided. Minimal power, tight beam. Then worked his controls. Channel open. Council Outpost Zenith. This is... Kelly paused. Using a human ship identification might cause delay. This is a friend. You are in danger. Recommend immediate evacuation. Unknown hostile approaching your position. They waited. No response. They might think it's a prank, Ben suggested. Send it again. Add that we detect an energy signature heading directly for them. Arrival estimated in 2 hours. Ben repeated the message. Still no response. They're not leaving, reported Paul from sensors. No change in their activity. Kelly sighed. Continue monitoring. If we detect direct movement toward the outpost, we'll try again with full identification. The hours passed slowly. The crew watched as the energy signature grew stronger, moving directly toward the Council outpost. It was no longer just a reading on their instruments. Now they could see it, a dark shape against the stars, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. What is that thing? Whispered Ensign Garcia. Kelly had studied the ancient records. If the old stories are true, it's a Vorax scout ship. They send these ahead to identify viable targets. Targets for what? Harvesting, Kelly replied grimly. The dark ship accelerated suddenly, heading straight for the outpost. Send the warning again, Kelly ordered. Full power, emergency channels. Ben transmitted the warning, this time with full human identification. The outpost finally responded, but it was too late. The dark ship reached the outpost in minutes. What happened next stunned the Explorer's crew into silence. The Vorax vessel simply absorbed the outpost. There was no explosion, no debris. The station and its 15 inhabitants were simply gone, consumed by the darkness. My God, Ben whispered. Did you see that? Kelly gripped her chair arms. Record everything. Full sensor sweep. For 20 minutes, the Explorer recorded the Vorax ship's movements. Then, without warning, the alien vessel turned directly toward them. It's detected us, Hall reported, his voice shaking. It's coming our way. Emergency jump, Kelly ordered. Get us out of here. Now. The Explorer's engines roared to life. The ship jumped into faster-than-light travel just as the Vorax vessel reached their position. Once safe, Kelly called Earth Command on a secure channel. Admiral Ryan Ford's face appeared on screen. Report, Lieutenant, he said. Sir, we've confirmed it. The Vorax are real. We witnessed a scout ship absorb a council research outpost. 15 beings, gone in seconds. Ford's expression grew grim. Did you get the data? Yes, sir. Full sensor readings. It's worse than we thought. Their technology is beyond anything in our records. Get back to Earth immediately, Ford ordered. We're running out of time. As the explorer raced home, Kelly looked at the faces of her crew. They had just witnessed something terrifying, something that threatened not just humanity, but all intelligent life. Will the Council believe us now? Ben asked quietly. Kelly thought of the outpost vanishing into that terrible darkness. They won't have a choice. Chaos erupted in the United Earth Defense Headquarters when Lieutenant Kelly Diaz's report reached Earth. Secretary Samantha Allen received the data during a tense meeting with the Council delegation. The timing couldn't have been better or worse, depending on one's perspective. We need to show you something, Samantha told the alien representatives. She activated the main display screen in the conference room. The recording from the Explorer played in full. The Council members watched in stunned silence as the dark Vorax ship consumed the research outpost. When it ended, the room remained quiet for several long moments. That was Outpost Zenith. Scary, the Delvian finally said, his voice trembling. 15 of our best xenobiologists were stationed there. High Chancellor Vroom turned to Samantha, his skin now pale blue with shock. How long have you known about this threat? We detected the first signs nearly a decade ago, she answered honestly. We tried to warn the Council 3 times. Your science directorate dismissed our reports. Impossible, Grex argued. The Council would never ignore a threat of this magnitude. Krex, who had just returned from his meeting with Dr. Alan West, stepped forward. They did ignore it. I've confirmed it independently. Humans have been preparing to face this enemy alone because we refuse to listen. The delegation erupted into arguments. Some accused humans of fabricating the evidence. Others demanded immediate emergency protocols. Through it all, Samantha Allen remained calm. This is why Earth has been mobilizing, she explained when the noise died down. Not to attack the Council, but to defend against this threat. The Vorax aren't just coming for us. They're coming for all intelligent life. What do you know about these Vorax? Vroom asked, struggling to maintain composure. Not enough, Samantha admitted, but more than the Council. We found references to them in your oldest archives, classified as myths. We took them seriously. A new voice spoke from the doorway. Perhaps it's time to show them everything. Admiral Rand Ford had entered the room. Tall and commanding in his dark uniform, he nodded respectfully to the delegation. Chancellor Vroom, with your permission, I'd like to take your delegation to see what we've been building. Hours later, the Council representatives stood in stunned silence on the observation deck of the lunar military base. Below them stretched an enormous underground facility that housed what humans had been working on for years. Ships. Hundreds of ships of various sizes, all built with a combination of human ingenuity and adapted alien technology. Not simple vessels, but warships designed specifically to combat the Vorax, based on all available data about their previous harvests. This is just our lunar fleet, Admiral Ford explained. We have similar facilities throughout our territory. How? Asked Scary in amazement. How did you build all this without the Council knowing? We didn't hide it, Ford replied. We just didn't advertise it. Your observers saw what they expected to see. A young species building up its space force. They didn't ask why. Vroom studied the ships with newfound respect. These vessels, they're not designed according to standard Council specifications. No, Ford agreed. Council ships are built for exploration and trade. These are built for war, something the Council has forgotten how to do. The revelation sparked intense debate among the delegation. Some admired human foresight, while others remained suspicious of their warlike tendencies. But all were forced to acknowledge that humans hadn't been preparing for conquest, but for defense, not just of Earth, but of all intelligent species. We need to inform the full council immediately, Vroom decided. This changes everything. Admiral Ford nodded. Time is running short. According to our calculations, the main Vorax fleet will arrive within 3 months. That scout ship Lieutenant Diaz encountered was just the beginning. As the delegation prepared urgent messages to the council, Krex approached Admiral Ford privately. You knew we wouldn't believe you without proof, he said. You were waiting for the scout ship to appear. Ford's expression remained neutral. We hoped the council would take our warnings seriously without proof. But we prepared for the possibility that you wouldn't. Humans think differently than us, Krex observed. We had to, Ford replied simply. On Earth, those who failed to prepare rarely survived to regret it. 3 days later, the full Galactic Council gathered for an emergency session aboard the human flagship U.S. Defiance. It was unprecedented to hold a council meeting on a warship, but these were unprecedented times. Representatives from all 300 member species filled the large conference room at the heart of the massive vessel. The Defiance was the pride of Earth's fleet, over a mile long and bristling with weapons. As alien diplomats walked through its corridors, they couldn't help but notice the efficiency of the human crew. Everyone moved with purpose. There was no wasted motion, no confusion. This was a species that understood war at a fundamental level. At the center of the conference room stood a large holographic display showing the path of the approaching Vorax fleet. The data from Lieutenant Diaz's encounter had been analyzed and expanded. The picture it painted was grim. Ambassador Lisa Murphy entered the room last. All eyes turned to her as she took her place at the speaker's podium. For the first time since this crisis began, she looked tired. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Council, she began. 8 days ago, you learned that humans were mobilizing for war. Today, I confirm that this is true. Murmurs spread through the room. We are heading to war, she continued, but not against you, for you. The enemy we face threatens all intelligent life in this galaxy. You've seen the evidence. The Vorax are real, and they're coming. Lisa touched a control, and the holographic display shifted to show ancient images and texts from a dozen worlds. These records from your own archives speak of a cycle. Every few thousand years, the Vorax emerge from the darkness between galaxies to harvest developed worlds before returning to hibernation. Your ancestors faced them. Some survived to record what happened. Others vanished completely. The council representatives studied the ancient warnings with new understanding. Why didn't we remember? Asked a representative from a reptilian species. Peace, Lisa answered simply. The council has enjoyed thousands of years of relative peace. Over time, peaceful species naturally evolve away from military thinking. The Vorax became legends, then myths, then were forgotten entirely. And humans? Chancellor Vroon asked. Why did you see what we could not? Lisa smiled sadly. Our history is different from yours. While many of your species evolved toward cooperation, humans evolved through conflict. We fought each other for resources, for land, for beliefs. It made us vigilant, sometimes paranoid. We look for threats because we expect them. She paused, letting her words sink in. For most of our history, we thought this was our greatest flaw. But now we understand it was preparation for this moment. When we joined the council and studied your histories, we recognized the pattern of the Vorax. We saw what peaceful minds could not. The room was silent now. Even those who had been most suspicious of human intentions were listening. Humanity's violent past wasn't a defect. Lisa continued. It was training for a greater purpose. While you built a peaceful society, something we admire greatly, we maintained our defensive abilities. Now we offer them in service to all. Lisa proposed an unprecedented alliance. Humans would provide military leadership and warships, while council species would contribute their advanced technologies and resources. Together, they might stand a chance against the Vorax. The vote was quick and unanimous. For the first time in galactic history, the council formally authorized war. As the session ended, Lisa joined Admiral Ford on the bridge of the Defiance. Through the massive viewports, they watched as ships from 100 worlds formed up alongside the human fleet. It was the largest gathering of vessels in Council history. "They're following our lead," Ford said with surprise. "I didn't expect them to adapt so quickly." "They're learning," Lisa replied, "just as we learned from them. Different species, different strengths. Together, we're stronger than either of us alone." A communications officer approached. "Admiral, all ships report ready. They're awaiting your command." Ford looked at the combined fleet. Human warships flew alongside Council vessels that had been hastily retrofitted with weapons. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. "Send to all ships," he ordered. "Operation Guardian begins now." As the massive fleet moved out to meet the approaching enemy, Lisa Murphy thought about how strange the universe was. Humans had joined the stars expecting to be the students of older, wiser species. Instead, they had become teachers in the art of survival. And perhaps, if they survived what was coming, the galaxy would learn to value both peace and vigilance in equal measure.